Hello, brother. I hope that you are having a great day. And I firstly just want you to check in. How are you doing today? What's going on? How's energy? What do you need to do by the end of the day? I like to ask this in some of my coaching calls because you can't just go through the day and just one thing next to another, and then the day is over. Take a wee second to check in with yourself. So in today's episode, what we're going to do is I'm going to really help you to achieve more for your body and for your life. And I'm going to really help you stay on track. I'm going to help you stay more consistent day on day, month on month. One of the key core components to any goal is staying on track 12 months of the year. Now, when I say on track, I say progressing month on month for the whole year. That's one of the fundamental aspects that I want for any of my clients to achieve. Okay, so we're going to really help you unpack that. Okay. Now, firstly, I'm just going to get stuck in, right? One of the big aspects why a lot of guys don't really progress is because they don't have goals. They don't have them locked in. They maybe set them, but then they forget about them. And because they forget about them, they find themselves going into habits and behaviors that don't serve them. And yes, you might be able to get by, but it's not going to help you be at your best and as well achieve your full potential. So it's so key that you have your goals and that you're reminded there, like every single day, that you know them, that they're on your mind. Okay, whether it is that you want to get from 100 kilos to 70 kilos, you've got that 70 kilo number on your mind in front of you. Otherwise, you're going to make decisions that aren't aligned with that or aren't at the level that you could be. Okay, you might be training, but it might not be to another level. And if you don't have that number in mind, or you don't have that goal or that word or that thing like just there at the front, you're gonna slip. Okay, so it's important to have it front of mind. The other thing that I noticed that a lot of guys have goals, but they don't have the clarity. They don't know how to actually get there. Like, yes, maybe downloading a training plan, maybe getting an app, maybe doing something, but you don't know exactly how you're going to get there. Even like some of you guys might even have PTs and stuff, and it's like, yes, you've signed up, you paid the money, but you don't necessarily know step by step what is it that you need to achieve. And we're going to talk you through that. This is the thing that I help my guys get really clear on, okay? Because you're here right now today, like it's been built. It's been built through your habits, your eating, your training, your mindset, your lifestyle. It's been built to this current moment. So it's like for us to now get a different result, a better result, what is it that we need to change? I want you absolutely clear and confident on that. In this episode, I'll talk through aspects and you'll be able to recognize some for you, okay? And the other thing is that you might have goals and you might have achieved goals, you might have gotten great shape, but it's been through willpower and force. And you only have so much willpower, okay? Like, yes, you might get in amazing shape for holiday, diet down for 12 weeks, but have you ever got to a stage where you're in great shape and it just flows? There isn't so much willpower. There isn't so much of a focus on it, like where you need to place attention, because yes, you might be able to do that for 12 weeks a year, but what happens when a newborn comes? What happens when your business is under a bit of struggle, or your career, you're working overtime, whatever it is? We need to get you to a stage where yes, you can place attention, get in shape, but then also as well for it to flow, for you to have set up the systems and for you to have set up the momentum that it just flows, and it's just a part of you. Okay, that's how we get you consistent, like all year round. That's how we make this a lifelong change. Okay, now this is one of, I know I said earlier on about numbers. I do think that is key, but I also think it's really key, and this is the part that a lot of people miss on, is having the identity of that person that has those goals. So say, for example, you want to be in absolutely incredible shape. What would a person who's in incredible shape do? Well, they wouldn't miss sessions. They would eat really well. They would plan their days. They would not have sides. They would be a resilient person. They would always push themselves. They would be growth minded. Like, do you know what I mean? So like that's the identity of the person that has that goal, that has that body, that has that milestone. So we got to get you clear on that, and we've got to have a conversation. What parts of you do we need to change? And this is the difference between us and other programs out there, because we help you get world-class results by helping you, yes, like physically achieve the result. You see the before and afters on our socials and things. You see the testimonials and whatnot, but it's actually getting you to a stage where it's a part of your identity, and you can achieve that year on year. It's just who you are. Just like brushing your teeth. It's a part of like who you are. You get up and you do it. How can we work that so clearly into you that every single day you work hard, every single day you eat really well, you train really well? That's what we need to do. We need to look at what parts of your identity that we need to change or need to work on to get you there. Now, one of the first things that we do with our guys is we have an audit, okay? And this audit, when they come on board, it really looks at their nutrition, their training, their lifestyle, and their mindset. So what foods are they eating, how are they training, their lifestyle, their sleep, their health management, their organization, their output, like all those things. Mindset, we look at their beliefs, their goals, their targets, their ways that they self-sabotage, all of those things. And from here, what this helps us do is it helps us actually find out what is going on, what's going quite well, what do we need to possibly place a little bit more attention to, because you just simply going and getting a diet or going and getting a training plan or going and getting like something off the internet, like it's kind of like a plaster to a wound or to a sickness. It's like, it's not actually fixing the thing. It's not actually going to the root. So instead of thinking, oh, I'm going to do this, we actually need to address the behaviors that have maybe got you out of shape, or address the behaviors that have got you here. Okay? So then from there, like that can look at a surface level, right? You've been eating poor foods, okay? And we change those poor foods. So if you've been snacking too much, or you've been eating at night, or you've been overdoing the weekends, right? We give you alternatives from there, but we also as well, like, we then look at the problem behind that problem, okay? So if you've been overeating and it's got you 20 pounds overweight, why have you been overeating in the first place? What is the problem that has been driving that need to overeat? Okay, and it could be so many different factors, and throughout my journey I've had so many different factors. It could be down to your relationship with food. It could be down that, like, as society, like, we are conditioned to, like, reward ourselves with food. When we're feeling bad, you have food. Like, it could be that. It could be that's just your view. It could be your language. It could be your whole relationship with food. It could be stress, that the first thing that you look at when you're absolutely exhausted is just, oh, I'll open a pint, or I'll open a beer, or I'll go and order something. And when you do that regularly, that then affects you. It affects your body. It could be how you handle stress. Okay. The other thing it could be is, like, you've all the right intentions to get in amazing shape, but just your energy, it's really poor, it's really low. And when you've got low energy, you might have the right intentions, but still make a poor choice, still miss a session, still eat poorly. Okay, so it's like, how do we get you to have higher levels of energy so that you're not reaching for those things? Okay, it could be as well, like, you might have all the right intentions to improve, to get in amazing shape, but you just don't have the environment to really flourish. Imagine it like this, right? Imagine you're an amazing footballer, but you're playing for a pub team, okay? Like, it's not going to get the very best out of you. You might stand out in that pub team, but you're not going to get the very best out of you. Sometimes you need the environment, the support, the standards of the people around you to lift you up so that you can get the very best out of you, okay? And it might be like, this happens quite a lot, is you get really busy, you maybe trained before, life gets more demanding, but you just don't have the vision anymore. Like, when life was easier, you had a really clear vision. I want to look like this is why I want it, and it was just in your mind. Now it's an afterthought. It's not a priority. It's not something that you think about. So you need to actually, like, because there's no vision, because there's no, like, goal for your training or for your physique, you're just trying to get through, you're trying to progress in work, you're trying to get your life set up, because there's no goal in your training, then you've no reason, and you might just get a little bit complacent. You might have the odd biscuits, you might have more alcohol, you might just not eat, you might just not serve yourself as best as you could be. Things might be okay, like, you might not necessarily be completely out of shape or whatever, but you just know that there's more from you, okay? And it's that vision that's just been diluted. Like, you maybe used to train. And this is something that when I help the guys and I help them sort of like unpack a vision they would love to achieve, something that's for them, then that's the thing that really gets them excited, that gets them going, that gets them to eat better, that gets them to train better, that gets them to get those routines in place, and they really push forward. Okay, not every time. It's not like something's broken or something's really bad. It's just that they've got a bit busy and they've got a little bit distracted and haven't really had a personal sort of goal or vision for themselves. So it's locking that in, locking in why you want to train, locking in what it will do for you, locking in those goals and milestones that you can aim towards that just get you up and out of bed. Okay. And even if like you maybe do have a vision, like everyone wants to be in amazing shape, everyone wants to do a marathon, everyone wants to do all these goals, but why do you need to do it now? Why is there any urgency? Is there any deadline? Has it been something that you've been telling yourself every single year at January the 1st? I'm going to do this. This is the year I'll do that. This is the year I'll get back into BJJ. This is the year I'll get in savage shape for my holiday. But another year goes around, you haven't done it. Okay, there might be that sort of goal and that vision, but you just don't have the urgency there. So it's sometimes applying urgency, and that's the thing that gets you eating well and moving towards your goal. Other things it could be you've maybe tried so many times that, I have a sense of lack of belief that you can actually do it. That was my view. Okay. Like I said this before in one of my episodes, there's a period in my life where I let standards slip and I tried to get back on track by myself for so long and then hired a coach. And because I tried so much and I'd made many attempts that I almost believed that I couldn't do it. I almost believed that, this is just not for me. I just don't have the willpower. It's not who I am. And yeah, that really got to me. So it might just be we need to build your belief up. We need to get you to a place where you feel like you're winning. You feel like you're in control of things. You feel like you're unstoppable. And that might be like one way that I do that with some of the guys is getting them to look at a micro level. Like, what can we do today? What can we do this week? And it is crazy how that then compounds, how you then gain so much momentum. You then feel better. You then see the results. And that is the thing that really gets you eating better, training better, and just improving. So it might be that. It might be we need to build up your belief. We need to build up you need to help you find your mojo, as they sometimes say. That's the thing that we need to get from you. Get you back to your very best. And when you maybe are a million miles away from your very best, it's like, right, how can we get you to your best today? Not what you used to be at your absolute peak. How can we do that today? Okay, so I hope that you can now see the problem behind the problem. And if we address the root, that's the thing that helps all of this really progress. And that's the thing that allows for this to lock in and cement at a lifetime level. Okay, now there are other aspects here, like the reason why you maybe don't necessarily stick to the calorie deficit because you have a fear of being hungry or a fear of performance suffering in work or not being able to focus or that you'll not be able to enjoy yourself or socialize, or possibly like one thing that happens is that individuals can want to get in amazing shape, but they are concerned about what their partner or what their friend or what everyone else will think about them. I know that was for me. Like I when I started training, I was actually called Gains, so I was, because I would have at that stage in my life, I would have had cement to get in shape, and while everyone else was eating really well, going out for lunches and stuff and getting takeaways, I was one bringing in mackerel and tuna and chicken, and I just was so locked in. But that took time for me to have that confidence to be able to choose my foods because I was concerned what other people would think. And that was inhibiting me from getting to my goals. So it was. Other things too is I remember with partners I had in the past and stuff that I was concerned about what they would think because I wanted to move towards my goals, or I wanted to train, or I wanted to eat well, or I didn't want to drink. And that was getting in the way. Don't get me wrong, you need to make compromises sometimes and things, but yeah, it might be a concern that you're thinking what others around you think if you actually lock in and go towards your goals. Okay, that's a very normal concern that pops up for a lot of people. So, I don't know your situation, but I've seen hundreds of situations from guys, and these are just some of the ones that came to my mind. And I encourage you to really dig a little bit deeper to address the root of the problem behind the problem, and then get the training plan, nutrition plan, all those things. And because you've addressed the root, that's the thing that they end up working on. Okay, so when I have a client The reason why they're successful and they get great results is because if I know they've got a poor relationship with food, I'll then coach them through that. When they slip up or when they make a poor decision, I will then coach them through why they've possibly done that or why they've thought about that. Or if it's stress, I'll then be able to turn around and say, well, look, we know a stressful time's coming up. So how can we design your days and your weeks to reduce the stress, which will allow for you to then progress on the training front more? The reason why I'm sharing this with you is because so many guys are going through thinking that they're just a robot and putting themselves under so much pressure. They yes want to progress in their body, but because they've got hectic lifestyles, they've maybe picked up poor habits, they are then putting them pressure when they aren't able to actually follow through with the training or follow through with the diet. They then get annoyed, get frustrated, and then they fall off track, and before they know it, it's a year later and their health in their body has impacted from this. Okay, there's not enough people actually educating you on how to, yes, get in incredible shape, but around a lifestyle, around if you're a guy, you might be 30 years old, you might have a kid, you might be getting a lot from work, you want to go out as well, socialize and have a drink at the weekend. How can we integrate your goals, your health into this? Okay, it's not that you try and fit your life into a set structure that a bodybuilder or whatever has put out. It's integrating this into your life, okay? That's what we really want. That's what we really need, okay? So now that we've addressed, and I want you to think about your problem behind you, the problem behind the problem for you. Some of the things that I then once we've got the plan and once we've got been aware of that, it's then about working through that as you go through the journey. And what I tend to do with the guys is I ask them, on our team huddle calls, is like, what could go wrong? What could go wrong this week? What could prevent you from following through on your plan? What could, over the next year, what barriers have you got coming up? I've got a stressful period here. I'm away traveling here. I've got loads of exams. I've loads of holidays. I'm having a newborn. All those aspects. See, when you plan ahead and you know, like, these are going wrong, you can build a plan. You can build a plan around it. You can know that during that period, that period, I'm going to pull back slightly and I'm only going to progress a small amount. What's the minimum amount of progress I can make during that heavy period, during that demanding time? The thing that holds a lot of guys back is when they are faced with a really challenging week, they've been thrown a million curveballs, is they compare that challenging week to one of their best weeks. Why can't I do this? Whereas the mistake that you've made is that we've got to compare that challenging week. How would you have handled the challenging week before? Okay? And when you know that you've maybe got in a few sessions, whereas before you would have got no sessions in, and you would have turned to the alcohol or turned to the sweets, and you didn't do that this time, that is a big win. And acknowledging that, seeing that, that's the thing that keeps you on track. That's the thing that keeps you consistent. Okay, rather than beating yourself up because you've compared to one of your best weeks. Okay, the conditions aren't the same, so we've got to be very aware of that. The next thing is building systems. Like I said at the start, there is an aspect where when you're redesigning your body and you're redesigning your lifestyle, we're putting in different inputs. So we're looking at your food, we're looking at your sleep, we're looking at your training, we're looking at your time management. But there comes a place where that will require a little bit of force, a little bit of energy, a little bit of attention. But we need to get to this stage where we've built up personal systems that allow for it just to flow, that allow for it just to still happen without it being a focus. Imagine like this, right? Imagine you were starting a new job. When you start a new job, you have to focus on everything. You have to place attention. But then 6 months into that new job, it just flows. You just go in, you don't even think about it, you just do what you need to do. That's how we want to approach your fitness. So we build up systems. So it's not always you need to focus on these things. It just flows. You've just built up systems into your day. Okay? If it's, earlier on I talked about stress. If it is simply just writing down at the end of the day everything that's been done today, everything that needs to be done tomorrow, prioritization, what's on the back burner, that could be one thing. And that system, if that was done like 6 months in a row, 12 months in a row, that would allow for your stress to be lower and allow for you to improve your overall ability to eat better, train, all those things. So it's about doing those little things, those little systems in your day. That's that gets us a result. But the thing is, most people look at a whole big massive overhaul and they overlook the small little details. We can't change your life until we change your daily habits. That's where we focus on. We do that day in, day out. And then that's the thing that changes how you look, changes your body, changes your mindset, changes your life. Okay? So I want you to think about that. What little things what systems could you put in place to change for you, to help you? The other thing that I want to bring up is there are going to be times where you are on your journey just going to need to hit reset. Okay? You might be training, you might be eating, and things have went off. You are going to now and again just need to hit reset. I've hit reset many of times. That is just going to happen. There are going to be times where you're slightly going to drift off and you're going to need to allow yourself to actually hit reset and go again. Okay? Have a whole new approach. Have an element of accountability, an element of ownership. Might be you might change the plan. Okay? You need to allow yourself to hit reset every now and again. And the other thing as well is like, you gotta to keep yourself on track, you need to have goals that stretch you and that force you to make the right decisions. So this might be that you need to set a goal that gets you out of bed, that makes you like you know that if you went out and got absolutely bloated, that you can't afford to do that because you've got your goal and you won't hit your goal. So you might need to actually set a bigger goal. You might, sometimes having a bigger goal that stretches you can be one of the best things to keep you consistent, to keep you eating well, training well. That might look like you set a whole new performance goal, a whole new strength goal. You maybe set a marathon goal. You maybe, like, yes, you've got in great shape, but how can we now get even leaner and stack on 10, 15 pounds this time next year? That's the thing that you might need. You might need your vision reset, and that will help you make good quality decisions for yourself. And one of the other aspects is like, to keep you consistent, you might need to get data in place. So if my clients miss their sessions, there's data in place, then I can just say, look, these sessions haven't been done. What's up? Okay? Sometimes data is so powerful because you think that you're doing well, you think that you're training well, you think you're hitting PBs, you think you're eating really well, but then when the data looks at you, you're like, oh, and the data hits you, and then you're like, right, okay, I need to push more. Data is so powerful. And that's like, you see, even like having systems that track your training, your goals and things, that's the thing that can sometimes be the difference between going from good to exceptional. Because you've got data there just to look at, and you can notice when you've slightly got a little bit complacent, and you can't argue with data. And most guys, you might in your head like think, oh, I'm doing well, but it's not until the data really shows you. And I've been in that shoes. That's happened to me. I'm so grateful for it. I've got those systems in place that track how I'm performing and what I'm doing. And with that, like, it might be, you've heard on this podcast about pulling the 1%, like having a coach to pull all the 1% out of you, to get the very, very best out of you with how you're managing yourself. Okay? Like if I had a client and they weren't consistent, it's what do we need to do? How can we move forward? How can we get you to progress? How can I get the very best out of you? Getting all those 1% out of you, okay? So, guys, today I've covered what's really needed so that you can go to a whole new level and you can progress and you can be consistent month on month. Chances are that you've never probably thought about it in this depth. And this is what I do with my clients is I've had hundreds of client experiences, and I'm able to literally, in the space of 5 to 10 minutes, it's quite common for me to get, you know my problem better than I have known it, and you have done this loads. And I basically join the dots together of what's going on for you and build this into a roadmap for you so that you can just then go and follow. And we address the problem behind the problem, and we build out the systems for you to allow you to thrive, to allow for you to progress. And we also help you and coach you so that you can overcome it and master it and get into the best shape of your life and have results for the rest of your life. That's what we're here to do. That's what we do here at the Level Up Academy. We're not a 12-week transformation program. Well, yes, we'll get you in shape in 12 weeks, but we're ultimately here to help you level up as a person, to help you overcome the barriers and the hurdles and do that. So we are taking on clients. If you've listened to this and you feel like having a roadmap like this, having this all set out for you would help you, just message me on Instagram, just the word coach. I'll know that it came from this episode specifically. And if not, that's completely cool. I hope that this helped you. I hope this gives you a higher level of awareness over yourself, and that you're able to stay more consistent. You're able to push on. You're able to get in better shape. You're able to demand more from yourself and ultimately level up. So yeah, guys, as always, please share this on your socials. Share this with a friend that you feel like needs to hear it. And if there's any further questions, feel free to shoot me a message.